campaign arm strategic goal is to say, shut up, you ugly F word. Like, I don't see how that earns you votes. And at the end of the day, I think James Tallarico actually understands something that the median Democratic communications staffer in Washington, D.C. does not, which is that he needs to moderate between now and November, because he is running statewide in Texas, which is one of the reddest states in the country. And Democrats have their eyes set on winning statewide in Iowa this cycle, in Nebraska this cycle, in Texas, and in places that are really, really red. Yep. And if you want to do that, you're going to need to move away from the things you said in 2020 when it's okay to admit, as James...
Hey guys, welcome back to The Public Record. We need to have a serious conversation today about the absolute intellectual bankruptcy of the both sides argument we're seeing pushed by political pundits right now. When one side has spent years institutionalizing cruelty, and the other side finally decides they've had enough and hits back, calling it a both sides issue isn't objective commentary, it's cowardice.
People to shooting up, whether it be the White House Correspondents' Dinner or President Trump and Butler. But what it remains to be seen is this is an anonymous account, and it is run actually by a sad liberal woman named Paulina, which is why Pew says 50% of liberal women at some time have identified that they have a mental health disorder, and she is certainly one of them. What a sad state for the pathetic Democrat Party.
Definitely make the case that we are headed to rock bottom. We are going low and lower. But at the same time, for Republicans to be clutching their pearls in this moment, does that seem, fair?
Yeah, the pearl clutching certainly doesn't fly. And I don't know who to blame for where things started or who's, responsible for what. I will say that all of the ad hominem and the profanity, look, I do a podcast. We work blue from time to time. I've occasionally used the naughty word. I like Drake's new album. There's a lot of battle rapping going on there. But I'm not sure that I want that emanating from the White House. I don't know that our national politicians engaging in this kind of conduct is generally a good thing. And it seems to me it's precisely the sort of circus that you would expect when neither party has particularly good ideas. Like having this idiotic argument, calling the candidate transsexual, insulting one another with the F word and the S word. Like this seems like a scene where someone is kind of getting into an altercation on the street and the highway, like road rage. This is clearly theater. These are people who are behaving as if they're the roast masters, who are responding quickly with a quip and using the F word in these ways that seem obviously performative. I don't know that anyone should be impressed with any of this. And yes, rising above it, talking about policy and talking about ideas in response to people who are insisting on engaging in theater. I think that is a better way to go. And quite frankly, I think the Democrats have lost the plot by engaging in this nonsense.
This is not the Democrats and the White House. And
there are elected
and
officials who are using the F word in official statements.
I know, but I'm saying I have more expectation of the White House and the biggest bully pulpit in the world, that is the President of the United States, than I do of the official Democratic account, the campaign arm of the Democrats. And let me just read to you what Donald Trump wrote about Bruce Springsteen. Bad and very boring singer Bruce Springsteen, who looks like a dried up prune, who has suffered greatly from the work of a really bad plastic surgeon. This is the same guy who compared the Obamas to apes. And I didn't hear Katie Miller saying anything. So I just think
Did he compare them to apes?
Yes,
we were talking about the meme video.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's not what happened.
That's not really what happened.
Oh, okay, let's
take your point.
He posted a video of them being depicted as apes.
Okay.
No, that's not even quite right. It was the ending of another video.
Hold on. I'm sorry, but no. I'm sorry, no. He reposted a video of them being depicted as apes. I don't care if it was on the end of some other video. He reposted it. He didn't
take it down.
He didn't take it down, and then he defended it.
He did take it down. It was not very nice.
But to Anna's point,
What we just watched on that panel is the classic conservative playbook executed to perfection. Spew the most abhorrent, personal, and bigoted rhetoric imaginable, and the absolute second they get a taste of their own medicine, they clutch their pearls and collapse onto the fainting couch. We have people like Stephen Miller and his orbit, architects of some of the most cruel, dehumanizing policies in modern American history, suddenly pretending they are the victims of incivility because a Democratic social media account matched their vile energy. They want to tear down every norm of decency, but they demand a glass shield of protection the moment the backlash heads toward their front door. Then you have pundits like Kmele Foster coming in with this enlightened centrist routine, acting as if the Democrats are the ones who lost the plot by engaging in the fray. This false equivalence is incredibly dangerous because it actively shields the original aggressor. To sit on a television panel and claim you don't know where it all started is a deliberate choice to ignore a 10-year timeline of MAGA dragging American political discourse straight into the gutter. They want to treat a house fire and the water used to put it out as equal forms of property damage. Let's look at what the right wing is actually putting out there, sharing deeply offensive, dehumanizing videos, targeting Black Americans, launching misogynistic attacks against representatives like Jasmine Crockett, and using weaponized transphobia as a daily press strategy. For years, the establishment advice to Democrats was to sit back, smile, and go high. But all that did was signal to the bullies that they could attack without consequences. Civility in the face of absolute bigotry isn't a virtue, it's a surrender. The reality that these right-wing pundits cannot stomach is that the rules of engagement have fundamentally changed. Democrats are finally realizing that you cannot shame an opponent who has no shame, and you cannot reason with a movement built on malice. Hitting back with raw, unedited truth isn't losing the plot. It's finally understanding how to fight for the future of this country. If the MAGA ecosystem is suddenly terrified of a hostile political environment, they need to look in the mirror, because they are the ones who built the arena.
But also like the government accounts, right? You've got the communications director for the White House, Stephen Chung. Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey are some of the dumbest R words ever to be in. He says, hey, R word, you must be thinking of someone else. He refers to another person as, you have no idea what you're talking about, you slope-brained, mouth-breathing moron, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a person who works in the government. He tweets from official accounts. So I don't know. How are you comparing saying someone's husband is ugly to, violence in politics? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, if I'm Katie Miller, I'm defending my husband, right? So I get that component for sure. Everyone is living in glass houses when it comes to being impolite, being incivil, and all of that. The thing that bugs me, though, because there is a place to actually use a profanity when you are expressing a sincere feeling, when it's coming off as, it slipped off my tongue because I'm feeling heated, because I'm passionate, and I'm expressing something that's authentic. The problem with the social media components is, it goes through 5 layers of review to determine whether you should say the F word or the S word or the D word or whatever. Like it reeks of insincerity and it reeks of performance.
Whose social media goes through 5 layers of
the
review?
DNC. The DNC. Trump's social media does not go through 5 layers.
He's tweeting out all kinds of crazy shit in the middle of the night on a daily basis.
I feel like we're talking about 2 entirely different things, actually. Okay, so it's a thing. People swear too much, whatever. Okay, it's performative. It's not performative. But what actually happened here is, we have members of the White House essentially freaking out because there's a tweet that attacked Stephen Miller. And just as a response, just to say, he had literally called the Senate candidate, who is not transgender. And it's just like the ridiculous aspect of all this is just the simultaneous throwing rocks and then being a victim. It's just we can all...
Very bold. One could even say brave, courageous, that the Democratic Party would choose Texas, of all places, to nominate their first transgender Senate candidate, who's clearly transitioning into a female. When Tallarico goes in for a blood test, when he gets a physical, blood doesn't come out. Instead, soy milk comes out. This man has less testosterone than Jasmine. It is a mind-boggling choice. They would choose a person to run for that office who looks like he doesn't belong in the Senate, but in a cabaret show.
I mean, everyone okay with that? You guys okay?
No,
I think that's very nice.
That is the type of language that should come from Jeffrey Ross, our Roastmaster General.
I hope you do a little better than that.
I would hope.
Go ahead, Jess.
I don't think that's very nice, but if we get back to the politics of this.
When you look closely at this entire dynamic, it becomes clear that this isn't a breakdown of decorum. It's the collapse of a double standard that the right wing relied on for a generation. They wanted a monopoly on anger, and now that the pro-democracy movement is fighting fire with fire, they don't know how to handle the heat. We're at a turning point here on the public record, and I want to know exactly where you stand on this shift. Is it time for the Democratic Party to completely abandon the polite playbook and keep matching this aggressive energy, or do you think there's a risk of losing our moral high ground? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read through them every single day. If you want to keep supporting independent, no-nonsense commentary that refuses to bow to false equivalence, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thanks for standing with me, and I'll see you in the next video.